Hey, welcome back to A Cup of Joe-isms. I know it has been literally forever.
A decade.
Yes, since I made a video. But so much has happened, and I kind of want to revamp my channel, and I really want to talk about stuff that I actually love and I actually care about, that I think other people actually care about but don't know about, and we're living it, aka education. Education in America is, ooh, it's the struggle. At least for our people it is. And so I just really want to talk about some different things that we've experienced as teachers in a public school system, majorly minorities, so people of color and low-income children. And us being first-year teachers, some stuff we don't know, so we're still learning. We have crazy stories to tell about our days, like literally the craziest stuff ever happens. We decided to coach cheerleading this year, so we have some coaching stories as well. But we also have some different perspectives that we're going to bring in, talk to people about what they feel like should help or can help with our kids, advice to new teachers, advice to teachers teaching in urban areas with black and brown kids coming from backgrounds either that they are familiar with or unfamiliar with. So this is going to be very interesting. It could be a little bit up here for some people who just like don't care, but tune in. This is to educators, but it's also to parents, it's to students, it is to it's to everybody. Okay, so first I want to start by introducing somebody who's been with me through this journey. First of all, if you didn't know, I applied for Teach for America, and I'm in Teach for America. I hear the oohs and the already. Ooh, do you like it? You know, whatever. That's a different video. We're gonna do a separate video strictly on our
There's another round
experience.
of applause like clip in the background as well.
Yeah, because it's a bittersweet experience. So we're gonna do a video specifically about our experience being black women in Teach for America. But just a little bit background. I'm a Teach for America teacher. We're teaching in Kansas City, Missouri, in an urban school. I am Kayla Josette, host of A Cup of Joe-isms. This is one of my best friends from undergrad and grad school.
And now also a Teach for America fellow as well.
And she's from
Dallas, Texas.
And she's in Kansas City. And so, what is your initial experience?
Cold! It's cold!
It is much colder here than it is in Dallas.
Super cold. I'm definitely a true Southern girl. So to come up here in the cold is like very, very, very nuts. But experiencing the school and the kids here in Kansas City, I would say the kids here are not any worse or crazier than kids in any other city, especially where I come from. I mean, they're kids, and I feel like I've really grown to love them so much. Like, we've been on spring break, and I actually have, like, said several times, like, I actually miss my kids. Like,
man, I feel like all over spring break, I'm like, oh, every time I hear a song, I'm like, oh, girl, my kids do this dance.
My kids love this song, and it's
I
so
done
weird.
literally had people ask me, like, oh, you got kids? I'm like, no, my students.
Yeah, it actually makes me feel old. But, yeah, it's like, you know, us building relationships and bonds with the kids, like, you know, also creates that sense of like, oh, I want to get back to them sometime. So, yeah, there's a lot of gratification in this whole crazy mess of education.
Okay, so just a little bit about me, a little bit about my background as an educator. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I've gone to public school my entire life. Once I graduated from high school, I went to Grambling State University, which, if you didn't know, is HBCU. And then I went to Mississippi State University to get my master's degree. I got both of my degrees in history. And so, in a sense, first of all, I studied education in grad school. And so, that's really important to me. And understanding systems and understanding our kids' plight and where they're coming from and how the system is basically set up against them. I kind of felt like I needed to teach. And in a college setting, for me, it just seemed like it was almost too late. Like, if you didn't get, like, if I only got a handful of the kids that looked like me that actually made it to that point. And so I kind of wanted to step back and figure out what's happening before the kids even get there or don't get there. And so I decided to go with Teach for America. I had heard about it. I heard it was a great program. I was like, oh, they pay your loans back. I was like, okay, let me try this thing. And I ended up getting in, and I was like, well, let me go home, because I'm like, it's really hard to teach kids in other people's hood. Like, let me go teach the kids in the hood that I know. And so that's how I ended up in Kansas City teaching, and that's how I ended up teaching in the school that I teach in. It actually turns out that the principal that I teach for was my 7th grade math teacher, and actually was very surprised at my journey in academia. So that's how I ended up teaching. How do you end up being a teacher or whatever?
So I'll start from the beginning. Like I said earlier, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I also went to Grambling State University as an undergraduate student. I initially started out as a social studies education major and eventually switched over to be a history major, where I started to explore my passion for African American history, women, the history of gender and sexuality. And just like Kayla, I went to Mississippi State. We actually did that together. Grambling was not intentional. We didn't know each other yet. We met at Grambling, and then we went to Mississippi State together. Both majored in history. Got a master's in history. While she studied education, I stuck with the history of women and gender and sexuality, and then more into intersectionality and even like urban and civil like housing and things like policy like that. So that's kind of what brought me to Teach for America, was this idea that there are so many like things on the policy side that are wrong with like urban communities, and that kind of is very deeply rooted in education. And so I felt like my reasoning for doing Teach for America was like, okay, if I even want to consider myself as somebody that could have an impact on education or urban and civil policy, I would have to first be a teacher, like start at the ground level, be actually in the field doing the work, knowing the kids, learning the system, seeing exactly like how it directly and indirectly affects our kids. So that's what brought me to Teach for America.
Well, I'm glad you brought up kind of like being a teacher first, and I feel like that is kind of like the point of why I'm doing this. And I'm calling it Education Revolution just because our system our system needs change. Like, so it's one thing to try to like tweak it a little bit, or it's okay to be like, oh, we could just like add in this program, and it's like, no honey, we need a revolution, we need a change. Our kids deserve a change. And so I really want this to be kind of a revolutionizing experience for a lot of teachers. But then also it's the fact that I understand the importance of teachers, and I think that some people don't. I know that a lot of us are trying to move up to maybe admin or instructional coach or this and that, but at the end of the day, if you've never been a teacher, if you've never actually been in the classroom for 5 to 6 hours a day, one-on-one with these kids, you don't understand how important our role is to the kids, to the school, to admin, and to anybody else. Never overshadowing the kids, because education is about the kids. The kids have to get educated. Like, without kids, we don't have a system. So just figuring out ways to analyze the system and see how it's working for or against our kids, and how we are playing a role in that. Are we advocating for our kids? Are we making them successful? Are we setting them up to be successful? Who is not setting them up to be successful, and what can we do about that? Because I think as young teachers, as new teachers, it's so hard to go into a system that's broken. You're coming out of college and you're just like, oh, we can fix this, we can change this. And then you step through that door and they're like, no, ma'am, have a seat. You ain't been here long enough. Like, no, you can't tell us nothing. Like,
hold on, slow down, sis.
Okay, step to the back of the line. We've been tried that. You know, that moment, at least for me, was startling, and it was kind of painful. But in a sense, I kind of started to understand it. But then also, I'm still pushing back against it. And so we just really want to share our experiences and eventually be able to give advice, or at least share our stories and let you know, okay, this is what we tried. I don't know if you can try it, or this did not work for us. Maybe it'll work for you. It didn't work for us. We'll see. You know, and just kind of talk about some things that are not always talked about, that people also don't understand about the system that we work in. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This is just literally the very beginning. Please subscribe. Please like. Please comment. Let us know what you want to hear about, or what you're interested about. If you have questions about us, what we do, what we teach, where we find resources, where we need help, if you want to give advice, do that. But also tell your teacher friends.
Yeah, and I really want to hear from some black female teachers in STEM. I'm a math teacher, and it is...
And in the liberal arts.
Yeah, but I'm saying in
particular.
but for you,
yeah.
Yeah.
She teaches math.
So I think like to hear perspective and like the journey on like road to certification and stuff like that is very present in my life right now. So I would like to hear some advice as well from like all ears, seasoned teachers, new teachers as well. But yeah, we're open. We're not just here to give advice or to tell you all like what we think and what's happening. It's like we want to start to build a community around Black educators.
And any educators who want to help. Any
Yeah.
educator who was like
Yeah.
all in, literally for the kids. That's
All
like an
in.
inside joke because our district is like all in. So that was real lame. But yes, so please like, share, comment, put it on YouTube, send it to your friends. Let your homegirl know, if you guys have some advice for us or something, please let us know. Turn your notifications on so that you can see our next video. And also tune in for our Teach for America video where we're going to tell you our experience, our advice, our pullbacks, our push forwards, everything. Stay tuned.